Well, hello, everyone. This is Natalie McQueen with Become an Author podcast. I'm here with my host, Jessie Bowen. How's it going, Jessie?
Better and better.
Good, good. Well, we have so much to talk about. I mean, the holidays are right around the corner, and it is not too late to write that book. So, we've been talking to authors, and we found that there's certain things that hold authors back. So we're going to address those today, and then we're going to tell you solutions to those. We really want you to look at this show and get inspired that no matter what's been holding you back, we know we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So don't wait until you look back and have those regrets. If you've been saying, I want to write a book, I'm going to write a book, then this is the show to listen to, because after this show, there is no excuses, right, Jessie?
Well, Natalie, that's exactly right. And as life coaches and business coaches, we understand that one of the key elements that stops most people from achieving their success is just procrastination. And that's one of the things that with authors, I run into it so many times. You get a proposal, you don't act on it, months go by. The idea, that gold mine of opportunity that's sitting there, it just passes you by. And then 6 months later, you see someone that actually has written a book that you've been thinking about. Then you want to accuse them of stealing from you. In essence, when you have a purpose in front of you, then you have to take that, because someone else, that opportunity will go to someone else. I don't know how many times I've heard of people wanting to do something, delay, and then they forget about it. Then they spawn a year or so later, someone is actually coming up with that idea. So that's called procrastination. It's one of the most common reason why people don't write their books. So writing a book is a significant undertaking that requires discipline and time management. So exactly. Right within that, that is very powerful. Many writers struggle to get started or to maintain the consistency in their schedule. And right. that's the key. And the first thing that we want to do is sort of address that. So let's talk about the solution. That's a problem. And then there's a solution, and that's how success
works. Solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's so true. When you're looking at something that's daunting, it seems like such a big task. So you put it off. Oh, yeah, I'm not ready. I don't know. And here's the thing. When you understand that, it is a discipline, it is a feat to write a book, but the way we can help you do it, the solution is we help you set clear goals. We help you look at your schedule and set what makes sense for you. Like if you're like, oh, I want to write a book and I want to have it published in 2 months, then you better open up some time in your schedule, right? And you better set some clear goals that need to be done between now and then. But if you're like, I'm a pretty busy business person and I've got a lot of things going, and we've got Thanksgiving coming up, we've got, other holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah. So when you're realistic, you look at what could get in the way, and then set really clear goals, put it into your schedule, and we will break it down. Here's how the writing process goes. Here's how we work backwards, where if your goal to publish here is, we know all the steps to work backwards. So we can clearly say to you, that's not a realistic goal for your lifestyle as a busy person, but this is a perfect goal and it's doable. And if we map it out for you and you have clear things written down in your schedule, so it's like an appointment and you don't break it, it's easy to do, right?
Yeah, well, and also, and everyone, we didn't say it in the beginning, Natalie. We must let people know who they're talking to. We talked about who we are, but we are actually with Elite Publications and Gifts of Legacy. And if you want to know more about Elite Publications and Gifts of Legacy, then you can go to our website, which is www.elitepublications.org. And that's www.elitepublications.org to learn more about the services that we offer. We are a full service company and helping our clients to write their books and to be successful. And we know all of the pitfalls because we've been there ourselves and we've overcome it. So now what we do is help our clients to be able to do that. Natalie, through Gifts of Legacy and Elite Publications, she's helped over 400 authors become international bestsellers. So we know all of the solutions. We know the pitfalls that you're going to go through. And one of those pitfalls is the lack of time. And this is where we come into time management.
Right.
Many authors, they have these busy schedules, they have family life, and they have other responsibility. So finding time to write can be a challenge. I was talking with a young lady the other day, and she's already written a book. She's got a program, and finding the time. She really needs a book to support the program that she's doing, but finding the time is a job for her, and she doesn't know how to be able to do it because everything she's doing is very important. So when you can now find the time and you begin to look at your dates and to be published, you have to have clear goals and provide a direction and the motivation. Those are some key things. But so Natalie, let's talk about that. What are some of the things that in the lack of time, how can someone solve that problem?
Absolutely. I mean, we all can say, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have any time. But guess what? If someone goes, hey, can you go on vacation next week? Sometimes you can find the time, right? Or a conference comes up or something fun. We make the time for what's important. That's the first thing. And so if you look at your schedule, when I was writing my book, Gifts of Legacy, the ultimate blueprint for generations to enjoy, there is a purpose when you're looking at your purpose of making your life the way it wants to, or the way that you want it to be. And sometimes the excuse was, I don't have the time. I lack the time to add anything else in my schedule. And so I challenged them, look and track for 1 week, every hour of the day, what you're doing. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm watching Netflix 2 hours a night. Or, you know what? I am going to the gym 5 times a week for 2 hours. Or, maybe you get up in the morning and you sit outside for 2 hours and have coffee. There's things, none of those are bad, but could you put your schedule to, hey, have coffee in the morning for a half hour and then write for an hour? Put it into a schedule that makes sense for you, and then look at what you are doing. Can you take advantage of, oh, I have to go pick up in carpool? Are you sitting there for 15 minutes in carpool that you couldn't take a notepad and write down maybe some ideas for your next chapter, or develop some of the marketing ideas? There's so many ways that we waste time. So we have to look at our schedules, decide what is really important, what cannot be moved, and then fit in what's important. Do you have anything to add to that, Jesse?
Well, I think that's really true. And I know for myself, I enjoy getting up, early in the morning and doing some writing, or set up a specific day, do things. Sunday is one of my favorite days to write, because on Sunday I can get up early on Sunday morning before church, have my time and my mind is clear and I'm really, really focused on it, on what I want to do. So that's a good time. And remember, your cell phone is a great tool. As Natalie was saying, you may not have pen and paper, but for most of us, we have our cell phone.
Right.
Click it on, send yourself an email of that chapter, of that thought that you're thinking on when you're in the writing process. So you have, and plus when you're looking at your project, you have to give it value. If I'm going to be writing a book, then I need to know what that outcome value will be. Guess what, Natalie? It's Christmas. And,
right.
And right now, if you want to sell books or introduce books to someone, this is the perfect time. And why? Because someone's going to buy someone a gift anyway. So,
well, I want to bring up this little thing. What you said is so true. This can be such a powerful tool, but it can be a big distraction. Mm-hmm. Our lives are full of distractions. Our cell phones are beeping, our watches are ringing, and you're answering them and stuff. Those are the other things that you have to look at. That could you, in that hour that you chose to write, could you put everything on silent? Could you go put your phone in a drawer in the other room? So, nothing is going to distract you and take you away from that time. And then I challenge you, look on your phone and see how much time it's saying that you're spending there. Are you looking at Facebook every 2 seconds? Or, oh, beep, guess what? Someone just posted on Instagram. All of that takes your focus away from what you're doing. And tick, 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 the time is ticking, and all of a sudden it's 2 hours later and you just meant to look at one thing on Instagram. So really focus on what's important. When you find that time, then eliminate all those distractions. Go set up a nice desk somewhere or a quiet spot. Make sure the doors are locked. Lock yourself in the closet if you have to. Go for a drive and sit under a tree. But you have to make it a priority. And once you get into it, it is so exhilarating. You're just like, oh my gosh, it's just pouring out. And every time you're distracted, it takes you away from that. And you got to get back into that mindset. And that can be hard to do.
Well, I've learned that the more you do it, the more you want to do it. The less you do it, the less you want to do it. That's it. The more you begin to write, whether you journal or whatever, the more you want to do it. Someone says, well, I don't have writing skills.
Right.
Start writing. That's where you start developing. And when it comes down to your ideas, we come in and help you by setting up those times and doing interviews with you to get your book out. You don't have to know everything. That's why you have, Elite Publications, because we come in and we set up an easy, comfortable way to get your book out, how to be able to do that. And, self-doubt, that's another big problem that people have is I'm not sure I can do this or not. And, we have those solutions. So let's talk about the self-doubt. And one of the other things in self-doubt is that the confidence that your work is going to be rejected or your wording is not going to be correct. All those things. So let's talk about it a little bit about the self-doubt and that fear of rejection.
Absolutely. I want to circle back. I was just looking up here, the average speed that people write per minute. And it's all over the place between 40 to 200. But let's just take an example of, say, 150 word or 150 page book. And on the average page, there's about 250 words. So that's about 37,500. So let's just round it to 40,000. If you break that down and you could write, say, 3 pages a day, so that would be under 1,000 words, which is not that much. Do you know that if you did an hour a day, 40 days, your book's done. Now that sounds like a long time for us because we know that you can fit in more than an hour a day, or block a time where it's a couple hours and you won't want to stop once you get writing. But I like to do that with people, is break the big picture down into hours. And who hasn't done a 40-hour work week, right? So could you sneak in 5 hours a week, and then all of a sudden that book can be done in a fraction of the time? So now, sorry, going back to what you were saying, that does self-doubt, fear of rejection. I could relate to that one because I was a publisher. I was pushing out everyone else's books. And then all of a sudden, I have my own story to tell. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to go, you're not a writer, you're a publisher. So it was scary to put yourself out there. But that's when, if you address, say, perfectionism, that's a big one for me. I like everything perfect and I can obsess over it over and over. And as writers, I'm telling you, if you go and write a book and then publish it in 4 months, you'll be like, oh, I wish I would have done this and this and this and changed it. And then if you go and change that in 4 more months, you're going to look and go, oh, I should have added this part. Because our minds change. What we learn every day changes. Our opinions can change. So that's where you have to say, in the spot I'm in now, I'm sharing my story or I'm sharing my knowledge, and it is what it is now. Get a good editor, and that way you're taking care of the little mistakes, and the flow of your book will be perfect, but not perfect forever. Perfect to publish. And that's what we really want to do, is know that people that know, love, and trust you will support your story. They will want to read your story. And if you ask people to support in a book launch, they are excited, because do you know that only 2% of the world has a book? So because we're in the industry, it seems like everyone has a book, right, Jessie? But that's not true. Have
Right.
you ever struggled with perfectionism or worried about what people would judge?
Well, I used to.
Yeah.
And what I found was that I spent so much time, I bought into the astrology that I'm a Virgo, so I'm a person of perfection, and nothing gets done. What I have learned is to be proficient, meaning that I get it out in the hands of that next person, or I get it out to that place that it can be good, acceptable work. Because no matter whatever you do, something else can always be done to make it better. Save it for the next book, make that volume 2.
Exactly.
But moving forward. And Natalie, we're talking about time, so we're really talking about value. So what is the value of your time? So what is the value of your book? I really try to get people to think about their books as an investment that they're going to create revenue. So if I spend 40 hours to write my book, but I have the possibility to earn $10,000, $20,000 for my book, I think 40 hours, I work I've worked, 4 or 5 times a year, 40-hour weeks. If I could earn $10,000 to $20,000 of profit because of my book. So when you start changing you're just writing a book, because now we have to get people to read the book. So that's where marketing, you don't have to know all those things. That's why at Elite Publications, we have a marketing team, branding team, writing team, whatever you need, we actually have it available for you. So I really want you to think about that for a second, is that if I'm going to spend 40 hours a week to possibly earn $5, 10, $20,000 of profit from telling my story, and it opens up the other doors, then that's a really big value. So when you're writing a book, it's not just a thing of just doing. I was looking at an author. She just released a book, and it's a political book, but in the software I have, I know what people are earning from their book. So in the first week of last month, she had earned $600,000 in the beginning part of the month from her book, and it is on Amazon's #1 bestseller overall. So it is at the top of the overall books, but she earned $600,000 in about a week, and now her book has been #1 bestseller now for several months.
Right.
So you can now see that the value of your story. So if you look at the value, that helps you justify the time.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. I like that, because the longer you wait to get it done, you're only making that money back in return. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but that's what we have. You have to have that realistic expectation. And remember, if you're writing a book, and Natalie, we know that the average person that writes a book, they'll sell 50 books and it's the end of their line. And, and that depends on how many friends and cousins that they have that will buy the book. And that's the reason why you have to have a marketing plan. There's no other way around it. You can have a book, and if you want to just be ego-based about your book, I have a book, that's okay. I really try to, really reemphasize with my clients that, we want your book to be the very best. We don't want your book to launch on the bottom. We want your book to launch in the top 100 of the various categories that it will fit in. So why have your book launch at the bottom, and then you have to dig it up to the top? Why not in the beginning create a marketing plan that allows your book to launch and be in that top 100 books?
Absolutely. So the other thing, not having a clear path. If you're like, okay, I'm going to do it, but then you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how much time it's going to take. You don't even know how much time you should be dedicating to your book. You don't have a marketing plan. That's when you turn to us, and we will sit with you, and we will have the plan mapped out for you that fits your lifestyle. And then that way you can embrace your plan. You know what to expect. And then educating yourself about the book process will probably just calm you down. So you're like, okay, I've got this much time, and then my editor's going to come in, and my editor will help me, and then I'll have this manuscript that I'm very proud of, and the book covers will be designed. And, so when you understand the process, it doesn't seem so scary. And then the other thing too is having that support system. When you work with Jessie and myself, you have us built in. You have our tools. You have our education. You have our background of, many, many years of doing this. So we have your back, and we know how to make it in bite-sized chunks. So you can come in, no matter if you're a super busy person or not, we can help you work through the steps that will end up in a beautiful manuscript that will end up on a #1 bestseller on Amazon.
Well, another problem or concern is financial concern. Publishing a book can be expensive, and some writers may be concerned about the financial cost of editing, cover design, and marketing. These concerns can be discouraging, for them. So let's talk about that. What can we do?
It's true. There's places you can cut your costs and be on a budget, and there's places you should never. And I think your book cover, you should never. Your editing, you should never. And you have to have a marketing plan. So if you have, say you were doing a children's book and you had a best friend that's an illustrator and you knew they did good work and you have, trading for babysitting or something like that, go for it. But when it comes to the proper way to publish the book and launch the book, to the first thing people see is your book cover. So if you're trying to do it, and I know Canva has beautiful tools to help you, but I think I'm pretty decent on, Canva and making pictures and stuff. But I wouldn't even try to make my own book cover because I want it to look professional. I want it to be done from somebody that does book covers all day long. They know the look, they know what's out on the market. And the saying, don't judge your book by the cover, guaranteed that's what we all do. You go on to Amazon and you're like scanning and you're like, ooh, I like that, right? And you're going to buy it. Same with journals and everything. We do judge the book by the cover. And so don't scrimp on the cover and don't scrimp on the editing, because your book can be a fantastic story and you'll get someone that's very good with editing, reading it, and they can't get past those ridiculous mistakes that you just missed because you didn't have a good professional editor.
Well, we just received the International Impact Award for our book that we released back in July, and that was the Who's Who in the Martial Arts Cynthia Rothrock tribute book.
Okay.
And the International Impact Award is a very prestigious award. I know you've won it before, but that is a very prestigious award. And there's a lot of books out there in that community. But as you were saying, is having a cover design that will match, that will be impressive, and it doesn't look like something you went to Canva or someplace and
Right.
you just grab something and then slap some text on it to make sure that book, really gets the attention. Because in order to become a bestseller, it has to be a good cover, because
Right.
that's the reason. Then the write up about the book, what it is, what the book is about, that is that's important. So, and also you have to have a support team. You have to have people around you that's going to be positive, that's not going to be criticizing you, telling
Right.
you all the things you cannot do. So you have to have a support team. So, as we're, getting ready to close here, let's talk about the importance of having a support team when you're taking on a book project.
Absolutely. You need to know what you're doing, first of all. We've covered that. But financially, it's good to invest in the proper help. And so even if you have to do it on a budget, then talking to a professional like us, we can do different things like, let's pre-launch your book and have a website built that you can pre-sell your books, and that will help you pay for your publishing. Sometimes the publishers, which I know both of us, have payment plans. So you can spread your payment over a couple payments to help take that burden off. But overall, getting the right support team that you feel it's a good match, a good price point, and then knowing that once you launch, that is just the beginning, and you really want to kick in to a marketing plan. And Elite Publications and Gifts of Legacy really feel that getting authors to realize you are an active person in this whole process, it's your story, but then take that book and run with it. Once it's launched, go on podcasts, get interviews, do writings, blogs, open up a group so you can read a chapter at a time or a blurb from your book and then talk about it. There's so many ways that you can promote yourself and have people really like what you're doing, and then they can't wait for your next book to come out.
And on that note, you can also partner with people doing a compilation book. That's your easy button. If someone wanted to write but not sure about the time, but they still wanted the outcome, is to be in a compilation book. I know in the martial arts world, we're working on a book right now which is called Elite Black Belts in America. And so, you write a chapter that's about 2,000 words, comes out about 3 or 4 pages. And that's an easy button for you. And you can sample the experience. Do you want to take on the bigger part of being a solo author, but being a co-author? I know, Natalie, you have a book that you're working on, and I'm one of the co-authors in that. We did a cookbook, and you were one of the co-authors in the cookbook. So you look at the books that you've done, that I've done for myself, but I look at all the other compilation books that I've been in. And what it comes down to at the end of the day is how much revenue is coming in. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm a business guy. I look at my work and how much revenue is coming in. So I've got 30 books, and probably 17 or 18 of those are bringing in constant revenue. And so when that's what you want to look at, is when I don't have to go out and work. I may do some work marketing, but when I look on Amazon and I go, okay, we made money today, and I didn't actually physically have to go out and work, because I created something that can continually bring, residual income once I actually produce it. So I really want to encourage everyone, if you're thinking about doing something, becoming an author, but I also want to warn you that you have to be careful, because you can sign away the rights to your book. You can be in a place you don't get any revenue for your book. So there's so many things that can go wrong. So even if you've actually already looked at haven't signed a contract, give us a call. We'd be more than happy to tell you the outcomes from that, because we are focused on being a self-publishing company, and we don't mess with your money. So that's the thing that we want to do. We design everything that is you. We set you on your way to be able to do that. So I just wanted to close with saying that you really have to be careful in the publishing business, because all your hard work can be lost and you never receive a dime of revenue from it.
Absolutely. Yep. That's why from the beginning, Jessie and I had such a mindset of helping authors use their books to make money. And if I feel that if it is your book, then you have the rights to your book, and we should be compensated for us helping you get your book out to the world, but then it's all you. And so I love that. I love that, there are choices out there in the world, but just make sure that you're talking to people that are for the authors, not just for making money. That's a really good point.
Well, I'm really excited about the holiday. Everyone, remember, this is Elite Publications, and I'm here with my partner and co-host Natalie McQueen, and she's with Gifts of Legacy. And I'm Jesse Bowen with Elite Publications, and our two companies work together to make your world easy. We work on being your easy button when it comes down to publishing. Remember, everyone has a story. You just have to get it out. Any last words from you, Natalie?
No, I would say Thanksgiving is coming. Be thankful what you have in your life, and don't wait to, look back with those regrets. I just hear that story so often. Come to us and let's make your book happen. And even if it's a book just for your family, get that legacy out. Get those stories written down.
All right, that's it.